Hey everyone, welcome back to Berlin Noir. And today in this episode we are going to be making some pretty big changes to a small portion of the map. And that is based on last week when I asked you guys what you were interested in seeing next. A couple of you mentioned something along the lines of like infrastructure or, any sort of like, rail infrastructure, tram infrastructure, stuff like that. And also people have brought it up in the past. And it's already something I was considering, one, reworking the tram networks in the city, but also what you're seeing now on screen, which is redoing this portion of what in real life is an U-Bahn line that goes through the northern part of, I believe that is Schöneberg neighborhood on the southern side of the canal that works its way through Berlin. But so right here, this is the Nollendorfplatz, which is also kind of a combination of the Bulowstrasse station, because the actual asset for the train station there is not the Nollendorfplatz one, but the Bulowstrasse, if I'm saying that correctly. So I'm kind of just combining the two into what I'm just going to consider the Nollendorfplatz station. But so right after that Nollendorfplatz station in real life, the U-Bahn station or U-Bahn line actually goes underground, which, as you can see, that is in fact what I am trying to do. So there's a couple of things that came into play when I was building this. For one, this area is kind of squished, like it's just scaled down a bit. I mentioned this before when I was originally building this area, however many episodes ago, and because of that, like, I don't have much space between this area here and the canal, which is towards the top of the screen there that you can see. So this is my first attempt here building the underground tunnel there that's going to pop out to this slope there. But yeah, this is my first attempt. It took me 3 tries with as far as like angles and curves and bends go. Because originally, like, this is my first try, as I said, and I had it going kind of curving off to the right and then going straight, as you can see now, which put as you see right there, is really close to the canal there. Like, there's like no room there whatsoever between this line and the canal. So later on, once I finally get how I want, which you'll see in a bit, I do change up the angles, make it a little different than it is in real life. So it gives me a tad bit more space to work with, and it just looks definitely better. But yeah, that'll be later in the episode. And as far as this actual episode goes, at least the time-lapse, it's pretty short, less than 15 minutes, because the second half of the episode is going to be a live play in which we discuss what I'm built so far, and also some other things that I didn't do on screen during the time lapse, but just something that, I guess is a result of all these changes that I'm now building on screen. But so yeah, so this is where I start realizing like, yeah, there's really no space there. I need to try and figure out a way to make more space. So I delete part of it, the rows and everything, but I keep intact just that portion there, since it has the tunnel and everything, it has the walls, and I didn't see a point in redoing all of that. So this is my second attempt here. I cut out the portion of half the second attempt and then leading into my final version. But yeah, so this is, as you see, it's a lot more straighter coming off of Nollendorfplatz. It's still not perfectly straight, but I'm just basically trying to make more room in this area. So keeping that portion of the track in place, I just line it up there with the roads, and because no point in redoing that. Because actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this is actually my third attempt, because my second attempt I actually deleted the portion there that I kept this time around, the track that goes underground and everything. I deleted that, which I don't know, I wasn't really thinking. So yeah, this is in fact my third attempt, not my second attempt. But yeah, so I don't know, this part of the episode might be a bit jerky, trying to follow everything that I'm doing. You might see some things kind of pop up or disappear in the time lapse without ever seeing what actually happened. And that's just because it did take me so many tries to get this right. Just because, like I said, I was just trying to balance, trying to make it realistic as it was, or more or less accurate to how the actual location here is in Berlin, but also just trying to balance the fact that I did scale down this region and just trying to make it a little more, give me more space. But one thing nice that I noticed when building this is, you saw me right there use ploppable asphalt to cover up that nasty, jagged, shadow edge. And that's what you get when you submerge something next to a road too closely. And then basically the train track that's submerged, it has its own footprint that goes underneath the main road there. And that's why you get that, black edged, nasty shadow looking thing. So it's no problem when it's actually on the asphalt area, or I guess in this case, the black cobblestone area, because you can simply just use ploppable asphalt. But sometimes you get that look also on the sidewalk, which in that case it's a little harder to hide, because then you have to take the ploppable pavement and cover that up, and then you also worry about if it's curving or bending. It's a lot harder to do, whereas with ploppable asphalt you just throw it down and it doesn't matter if it sticks off the road because it's submerged a bit. But anyways, here you can see is where I turn the road and the track a bit, just again to give me more space on the top side, because this area does lead to the Kaiser Wilhelm Church, which you might have saw. The asset I use for the Kaiser Wilhelm, right there actually is when I'm placing it. Yeah, so this asset is not the best for, resembling the actual church here. If anything, this thing looks kind of French, which I believe it is. I don't know, the blue roofs and the general architectural design reminds me of a French church. I could be wrong. But yeah, that's the best one I could find. If you know of one that would better fit in this location as the Kaiser Wilhelm Church, let me know. I'll replace it. I just went with this one because, it's a good size to fit in this little area. And it's got this single steeple in the front. But so this leads to what I'm placing right now, which is the Kurfurstendam Street, which I upgrade to a wider avenue in a little bit. But a number of you said I should build that because it's a really nice avenue in Berlin, very much upscale. Got a lot of fancy stores and restaurants and such. So that'll come next episode when I actually build that road, or at least the buildings, and detail everything. So I am looking forward to that. I've got a couple of you over, for actually some time now, asking me to build that. So if you're watching this now and you've asked me to build that, then yeah, next week I'm pretty sure I'm gonna actually build that. So hopefully you enjoy that. But yeah, so here's where I actually upgrade it to a avenue, which I will eventually, obviously get rid of the dashed lines there with the ploppable asphalt texture and the get rid of the crosswalks and everything. But since I'm not actually building on that right now, there's no point in doing that. But just using right here the ploppable pavements to cover up the holes that are a result of the tunnel going underneath there. But so here is where I adjust the main S-Bahn line that I had to destroy, since this originally connected, at least one track connected to the Nollendorf Platz line, and I originally had that basically as one large S-Bahn line, but I'll talk a little more about that in the live play, go more in detail with that. But yeah, so this is definitely more accurate to how it is in real life. This track basically heads out west around this area, leads to another station that'll be right about there where I'm building. I don't build that in this episode. I might build that in the next one if I do the Kurfürstendamm, but I'm not entirely sure. That might be a bit too much to do in one episode, but yeah, we'll see on that. But yeah, so I really like how the new look is, at least the elevated and the elevated S-Bahn line there, as well as the new Ubon line, but we'll see that in a bit in the live play. But for now, for the remainder of the episode, we are adjusting the tram lines in the city. So I had a decent amount of tram lines in the city, I believe 6 or 7, something like that. But as you expand your city in this game and you adjust your, transportation networks like bus lines and tram lines, especially, even with the train lines, but they're not as bad, I've noticed. But when you adjust and add stops as your city grows, you can really screw up your transportation line. Like you get, like the trams or buses will like double track. They'll make awkward loops around places where you're like, what are you doing? And that's really annoying. So I figured it was about time to fix some of that. And I also reduced my number of tram lines to really just the ones that are necessary for the time being. So this is the main line here, which stretches from the Lehrterbahnhof all the way out to the Alexanderplatz here. So this is one line that, there's really no space in between that's going to be developed or changed. Everything's pretty much set there. So this line is never going to, have any issues with needing me to adjust it or anything like that. So that's why this line, I made it, and then this one as well. This one is going to start from, I started it in the middle actually, but it's going to go from the Friedrichstrasse Bahnhof station right here. Yeah, there's the train station there. And then loops around there, and it's going to go to the, I believe I sent it over to Mehringplatz. So this one will probably mostly stay intact too, even though obviously around here with Mehringplatz, I've only built that small area, so there's a lot that needs to be built and developed there. But rather than making one long train line or tram line, I'll probably add, a little transportation hub there. Well, not a transportation hub, but, multiple stops and stuff. But anyways, here I decide to change that one bridge into a tram bridge, which unfortunately, I don't think there's any like tram networks on the workshop in which you can make them elevated or as a bridge and, get like a non-vanilla looking bridge, because there's plenty of standard roads in which they're networks and they come up with some nice bridge for a river or something like that. But when it comes to anything with trams, I just simply have been having to use the vanilla tram road, which is all right because I found a decent way to add a bridge to this is simply using what I'm doing here on screen, which is just train tracks. Finding a good bridge without any like railings or anything on the bridge itself, making sure everything is level, and then just sinking the train tracks a bit so they don't stick out in the road, and then there you go. In a few seconds you have a nice little bridge, and I've been doing that in a lot of places with the tram tracks. But here's also, I think, the last tram network that I did on screen, if I'm not mistaken. And this one's pretty short, just going from the Technical University there to the one train station there, which, that one's, like I said, pretty short, and a lot probably is going to change in that area, but it just felt weird having so few tram lines, because I know back then, and even today, there's a ton of tram lines in the city, but especially back then, there's trams all over the place. But so here we're just adjusting the S-Bahn lines. I finally color-coded them properly. I changed the S-Bahn lines to a green color, and then the Ubon lines to like a blue color. But just different shades so you can tell them apart. Though the S-Bahn lines don't really matter because they're right next to each other. But that's pretty much it for the time-lapse. As I said, it's pretty short. But following this is going to be the live play. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to discuss quite a bit of things. So I will pop up again in a second. Alright, welcome to the live play portion of this episode. So here we are looking at the newly redesigned Ubon line here. And seeing that little Ubon train shoot out of the tunnel there looks pretty sweet, I must say. So I'm definitely happy with the results having changed what it was before, being completely elevated to what it is now and going underground there. So for those of you who maybe just can't really picture what it was before, or if you're new or whatever, originally I had this. So this is my main S-Bahn line right up here, right? So this is one that's modeled after more or less real life with a few minor changes to the station locations. But originally, these two lines went this way. So one line, one track here, connected to the Nollendorf station here, and another line went split off and went this way and connected to this station over here, which is not based on anything in real life Berlin, which I'll get to this later. As you can see, it's unconnected to anything, so yeah, that's going to be something later in the live play. But yeah, so that was what we had before, but now, as you can see, this is more accurate to real life, whereas after this station here, Nollendorfplatz, and the actual station that I use is actually not Nollendorfplatz. It is the Bulabstrasse, I believe. I'm blanking on the name. I think that's it. Sorry, give me a sec. I gotta get that right because it's gonna bug me. Yes, Bulabstrasse. Something along those lines. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but yeah. So I'm combining that station with the actual Nollendorfplatz, so I'm just gonna call it Nollendorfplatz. But anyways, so after that, it goes underground, and then there's going to be another Ubon station here in real life about. But as you can see, I really condensed this area here. So there's only one station, whereas in real life, there's the Ubon station here, which is underground, and then there's also the Bulabstrasse station somewhere about here. But for now, or probably just for the entire series, I'm just going to have the one here. And it goes underground right before this is going to be the Kaiser Wilhelm Church, which it's not the actual church, if you're familiar. In fact, this one kind of looks French, if anything, but, you know, limited on the number of assets on the workshop. And this one's probably the best that I've found. If you know one that is a little better, let me know. I can place it down there. But this one was a good size and fit there, had the single steeple in the front. So that's why I used it. But anyways, so this will probably be the next episode. This is the Kurfurstendam Street, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's going to be a bunch of really nice shops and restaurants. It's going to be very detailed. It's going to look really nice. I'm looking forward to that because a number of you have told me that that's something I should build, and I'm finally getting around to it. But so also, this is now the new portion of the main S-Bahn line, because originally, as I said, it actually went curved this way towards Nollendorfplatz. But for now with this S-Bahn line, this here is the last station. So until I build the station, which is somewhere about here in real life, the actual S-Bahn line is kind of short. Just runs from here, around here, to Friedrichstrasse, and then to Alexanderplatz over here. But so that is it for the time being with that. And then I do want to show you, maybe it's going to show up all right, but the actual transportation lines, it still looks kind of hard to see anything. But anyways, I guess I'll go to the lines overview so you can actually see. So originally, here are the tram lines. I only have 4 tram lines right now. I had a number of, I think I had 6 or 7 beforehand. But as of now, I just have, so the main line, which is the purple line, which runs from over here, Alexanderplatz, through the heart of, I guess, the city, around the Brandenburg Gate, and then through the Tiergarten, and then it comes out to Lehrter Bahnhof, and, you know, little loop and loops back. And then I have another one which crosses the opposite way. Starts over here by, I guess, the Charité Hospital and University, goes to the Tiergarten, and then it makes a big loop around here and Nollendorfplatz. And then another one I have starting at Marienplatz over here, goes by Anhalter Bahnhof, Potsdamer Bahnhof, and then through here and pops a UE at Friedrichstrasse. And then the last one I have for now is out here, which has a little loop here at the Technical University, and then just simply loops around right here in Nollendorfplatz. So that one's kind of short. And that's definitely not nearly enough tram lines, but I don't know. So transportation lines in this game are kind of a pain to like add on to as you expand your city. It's like they get screwed up, which is why I have this episode where I'm, working on the tram lines and redoing stuff. Wow, look at that. That is some major traffic. Jesus. But yeah, so yeah, the reason why I'm just keeping it to those few tram lines right now is just because those parts of the city, like Alexanderplatz to over here, like that's not going to change. There's nothing that needs to be developed through there. I mean, maybe eventually I'll expand the line out further this way, but I think I'll probably just start a new line, and that's going to be, part of a transportation hub, since it is Alexanderplatz, and this is Lehrter Bahnhof over here. So that's probably going to be more like that. So, yeah, definitely I'll make some more tram lines as the city grows out. But for the most part, I just put them on, 4 main lines that go to the, more major parts of the city. So Marienplatz over here, this, I guess the northern part of Schöneberg, and then, of course, everything crossing through this area being the Tiergarten and Brandenburg Gate, and then one over here at Lehrter Bahnhof, and then Alexanderplatz. So I think that's good for now on that. And yeah, so the last thing I want to talk about, I'm going to try and keep this short so it's not too long, is what to do with this area here. So I mentioned this at the very start of the live play, kind of. But so originally this connected to the main S-Bahn line, went somewhere along that and connected up there. But as you can see, it is completely unconnected on both sides. So I just want to know what I should do exactly with this, because I really do like this area. It's simply not based on anything in real life. I didn't model it off of anything. I just was playing around, trying to make stuff that looked good, and this kind of, was the result of that. And also, something like this, a picture like that, is my most liked image on Instagram. So keeping that in mind, it's just kind of hard for me to want to actually get rid of this train line here. But so I'm going to put it up to you guys what exactly you want to see me do with this. So I figure there's more or less 3 options, unless you think of more. So one being, I can completely, obviously, get rid of this train line, but also kind of redevelop this area. Get rid of this plaza here, and then make it look a little more accurate as it is, in Berlin back then and today. Because this road layout, road network here is kind of a little wonky. It's not quite accurate to, this area in Berlin. So that's option 1. Option 2 would be I get rid of this train line or train tracks, and then simply keep everything like this as it is. So I'll keep this plaza here. After all, I do have a non-functional subway station here, so we have, an U-Bahn line that goes underneath this. Like I said, it's non-functional because I don't really see the point of having a extensive network of, U-Bahn lines throughout the city, because you simply don't see them. Whereas, an U-Bahn line such as this one that runs elevated, that makes sense because it's actually above ground for a certain amount of time, and you can actually see it. But yeah, so that's option number 2. Get rid of the train tracks, keep everything else. And then option number 3 would be keep this and then simply, make this another U-Bahn line or another S-Bahn line. Probably another U-Bahn line because, over here it kind of dead ends. So I'll probably would have to, on this side, have it go underground, meet up maybe with this, or maybe go straight out this way. And then over here, maybe keep it elevated for some time. And then, who knows what it is like on that side of the station. But, yeah, so let me know what you think with those 3 options. So number 1 being destroy this area, redevelop it, make it more accurate to real-life Berlin. Number 2 being just simply get rid of the tracks, keep everything else. And number 3 being keep everything and just simply make it into a U-Bahn line that, maybe in this alternative universe of Berlin in 1929, there existed this U-Bahn line here. So those are your 3 options. Let me know what you think on that. And that's pretty much going to be it for the live play. I think I covered everything. Hopefully this wasn't too long. But yeah, let me know what you think on that. And also let me know what you think on the new, remodeling of this area. Hopefully you all like it. If you were the one who wanted me to see or wanted me to build a more, accurate Berlin, then I'm sure you're going to be more excited than, it was before. Since, I really did like the way it was before. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It just, wasn't accurate to Berlin. So that's why I decided to change it. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. And stay tuned for the cinematics. And I'll see you all next time.